Okay, guys, going live. There, that's for you, Billy. Guys, leaving the stable at the age of 18, 19, 20. It's very, very hard, bit scared to take.
We lost them. Mark, come back. Good morning.
Hello.
Hi, beautiful people.
How are you?
Really good. Really good. Bit chilly out there this morning. All good. You guys well? Good sleeps?
Yep. Amazing.
Not really, honestly. I had a really terrible sleep last night, but we're here and we're ready to go.
What happens then? Are you a bit nervous to go on screen solo?
To be honest, I'm a little bit worried about setting up because you've got so many keyboards and screens in front of you. You don't know what you're doing half of the time.
It's
We'll get there, I promise.
You'll get there. It's trial and error. It's trial and error. Billy saved the day, you legend.
Yes,
now, guys, really, really tough topic this morning because there's, obviously people leaving the fold, they're leaving home. Everyone's got to do it, but agents and landlords are reluctant to accept 18, people with no references, people with generally you're at your lowest income when you leave school. But you guys are exposed to it with your friends and also yourselves and stuff like that. So I thought the pros would talk about this morning about the hacks.
It is a tricky one. I think just the lack of confidence in you, from the agent, from the landlord is the biggest thing to try and overcome. And the only way to do that 9 times out of 10 is to, try and back it up with paperwork. But that's often the thing you lack, the references, the pay slips, things like that. So yeah, it's challenging, definitely challenging.
So the top 5 things of what people can do when they're at the age of 18 and going out of the marketplace to rent something. What do you reckon? In no particular order, what's number 1?
Definitely talk to a property manager. I think coming into an office and actually being face to face to a property manager, they can give you tips and tricks on how to get the suited home for you. I think that's a great way to start off because they'll be able to give you some more ideas and, obviously advice into putting in your application.
So just good old one-on-one, belly-to-belly rapport with the property manager. Super important. And another one I was thinking about this morning, which I rarely see, it's putting mum and dad on the rental application. Even if they're not going to live there, a landlord or an agent would happily commit a person that's older with a stronger income. And that person, so, for instance, you're going to rent, you may be earning $800 a week, $900 a week. You may be attempting to rent something for $350 a week. And you can say to the agent, look, I'm happy to put on my mum or dad or mum and dad onto the application as well. I will be the only occupant, but you've got that financial security of mum and dad.
Yeah. That's a really good one. We've seen that done quite a lot, and it's worked a treat. I've successfully leased back in the day a couple of properties and to young people, and mum and dad have just been on across the email correspondence as well. So if they ever have any questions, like in terms of lease, because you're on there as well, it's a good way to make sure you're not.
And mum and dad can take all that.
Yeah, make sure you're not out of your depth, with the paperwork as well. Yeah,
and mum and dad can always take themselves, so 6 months later, 18 months later, or whatever, if it's acceptable, most of the times it is, they can take themselves because it doesn't affect any loans. So often parents think that they won't be eligible to, apply for a loan if they've got that commitment of that lease. But it doesn't. It doesn't really. It doesn't cross over like that.
Yep. Tiana, I've got a question for you. How long, whether you're 18 or not, but if you're looking for a property, how long should you leave yourself to find a new place?
Well, if you're planning to move out, I think you should give yourself at least about 2 months. I think, give yourself 1 month to look for the property, put in your application, and also 1 month to give you time to get all your things ready and move out, essentially.
Yep.
But, it's how determined you are and how quickly you want it and when you want it and when the property is available, essentially.
Yeah, that's true. Because you've got to remember, you've got to leave yourself at least a couple of weeks. Usually there's properties that are coming on with 2 to 3 weeks because that's what notice the agent's been given. So they're not necessarily ready right now, available right now. Another hack.
Oh, let me have a think.
What about paperwork? So I think one thing young people have got on the oldies, one thing they do better than the oldies, and it makes the property manager's life so much easier, is they're across how to submit an online application really quickly.
Yeah.
So an 18-year-old, looking for a place, I think the best thing you can do is, as you said, first of all, attend the open home, make a good impression. And second of all, submit your application on the spot right then. Because as soon as the property manager's back in the office, they're going to remember the nice, young guy or girl that came through, and there's their application with all the paperwork they need.
Yeah.
There's there's an old man there called Piers Cody that's calling you handsome Billy.
That's
dirty old man.
I think he's talking about Sienna. Not me.
Handsome.
Handsome. Thanks, Billy.
Wow, that's you, Billy.
I'm flattered. Thank you.
Look, he's going all right.
Piers.
I'm
Thanks,
flattered.
Piers.
Yeah, thank you, Piers.
He's a good man, Piers. He's a good man. All right, so rental applications, guys. If you just tuned in, we're talking about if you're the ripe young age of 18, 19, 20. How the hell do you fill out an application that's going to be attractive to a landlord? We've spoken about a couple of things like putting your mum and dad on the application, preparation time for it. What else? You know what I do like, and it's on the back of what you were saying, Sienna. I think turning up to the open house and getting to know the agent that's at the open house. So rather than running in, running out, no chat, and putting an application in later, I think if you can ask the agents and digging deep questions, complimentary questions, towards the property, explain your circumstances, give them a little bit more depth on yourself. When the application does go in, because often you just, you'll email it, but if you can take it in physically, again, that's all that belly to belly. I think that's really good. I think a nice backstory to you verbally and even in the application is going to help the landlord take that story and that confidence to their landlord. And then their landlord will actually understand where you're coming from, who you are, what you're doing for work, and the nice kids, nice guy, nice girl. That's really, really important. And it's quite mind-boggling for guys like you because, and you know this with your buddies, but you can be putting in application after application, decline again. Man, it's not going to happen. And what's wrong with me? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think you can, but it's just really that age thing. And yeah, these are the things we're talking about this morning that we can you can pump up.
I think another thing is like looking at the type of property you're going for. And it's not to say that, the 18 and 19-year-olds are getting the bottom of the barrel properties, but choosing the properties like with a bit of being a little bit smart about it. So if you can see a property's been on market for a while, there's a good chance they're actually going to consider an application rather than a property that's come on first open home that sometimes the landlord wants to see what else they're going to get first. So having a look on realestate.com, you can actually search the properties by oldest to newest. And if you
That's
look
a
at
great hack.
Yeah, if you look at what's been sitting on market for, say anything over 2 weeks, I reckon the landlord's now thinking, maybe I've got one more week of a tenant living in the property. It's starting to get a little bit shaky. If the property's been on market for 3-4 weeks, you can definitely say it's vacant. That's a good way to find yourself. Maybe a deal as well, because you might even get a little bit cheaper.
So a vacant property is always a telltale to maybe the bit more desperation with a landlord.
Yeah, I mean, no rent. The mortgage doesn't stop for a lot of people, but no rent definitely gets people moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cracker. Is there, when you're filling out the application, what sort of support documents can little Johnny put in on the application? So what sort of information can you put on there to support it, to make it a landlord go, yep, that makes me feel comfy, I'll take him?
Well, since you're moving out and you don't have a tenant ledger, I mean, if you do have a tenant ledger, that will be awesome. But bank statements, pay slips, your ID always counts. So we definitely know where you live, what's your current address, and it gives us definitely more background on your backstory, as you said, Mark.
You know what I've noticed with these bank statements is sometimes bad habits can be on there. So just be sure that if you're passing it to someone who's doing a reference check on you, things like the TAB or betting online or that sort of stuff, if you're consistently seeing that on a bank statement, it's probably not the best look either. So I think the 3, 6, 12 months before, if you are going to be supplying a bank statement, just make sure it's in good stead. Do you know what I mean? Like, because you can actually if you are doing that, for instance, having a punt, do it from another account that you're not going to be supplying your agent to take a reference off.
That's right. Big night in King's Cross. You don't want to be seeing that every Saturday.
Yeah, platinum. What's that? Platinum in the city? Yeah, no good.
Yeah,
good.
No, you don't want any of that. But in saying that, another way you can kind of get around that, if you need to be a little bit sneaky, is just providing the balance. So you can screenshot your balance rather than a full bank statement. For some people,
I do have to say, when you see a full statement, it does bring comfort to a landlord and to someone that's checking the references. So look, in the last 3 months, their pay hits consistently. The dollar amount of their pay is consistent. It's not $100 one week and $1,000 the next. So it's nice. What other supporting docs in there, guys?
Even a character reference. If you're lacking documents, usually we don't see it in like family applications, but a character reference. Obviously, someone's going to, the rental agent's going to call your employee, and if you've got some rental history, but a character reference is not a bad one.
You know what a good hack is, Billy? If you talk to friends and family, if they know a real estate agency or if they know a real estate agent, that's actually quite a nice reference, because you may find it connects the circle a little bit. So I often get friends and family calling me saying, look, great kid, needs to rent. I vouch for them. Have you got anything that would be suitable? And then when I say, yep, here's what's on the market. When you put the rental application in, put their C mark, and then the property manager will come to me and say, hey, there's this guy here for this property in Devon. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what's name's nephew.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
good old references and then people works.
It works a treat for local people, local properties as well. Whether you're in rural areas, everyone knows everyone. Same with here on the beaches. That does work really nicely.
That's it. And that's a show. Anything else we want to talk about on hacks?
I think we cleared it all.
Is that all the hacks?
You boys took it over for me today.
No, you were still here. Don't worry. We couldn't have done it without you, Senna.
So, Sienna, a lot of your friends Are they renting? A lot of your buddies?
No, most of my buddies are still at home at the moment.
Yeah.
The only person I know is Billy.
I know a couple people that have moved out, but it's funny. A lot of people I think are going for the share house, so they're trying to split, 2 or 3 rooms rather than something on their own. I think that seems to be a little bit more affordable, which can sometimes be a bit scary for a landlord as well. I think seeing 3 boys on an application, or like 2 couples for a 2-bedroom apartment, that can sometimes be a bit scary, a bit intimidating.
And what are you paying for a share house these days?
I don't know, like $200-300 a room, I would say. Cheap
Yeah,
one.
something around there. Yeah.
Yeah, something around that. Yeah,
There you go.
there you go. That's the show.
So everyone watching, if you got any questions, feel free to ask us, call us. Feel free to put comments on here. We can answer them later, and share this with someone who's going into rental accommodation that's young, because it's, and I think you to go back to those days, it's quite there's a lot of violent change in your life, so it must be just so hard with work, with education, with finding a place and furnishing the place and all that stuff. So hopefully we can help with this episode.
That's it.
Awesome. It's a wrap.
All right, guys, take
See ya.
care. See ya. Thanks,
Bye.
Billy. Thanks, Deanna.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Still live? What do you reckon?
Wow.